no, there's no set number you want to stay under for getting reviews. You don't want to come off as spammy, as artificial, that you're astroturfing. So yeah, we want to meter those down. But then more so, we want to meter them down so you can just drip them out over time now instead of doing a big blast up front. Welcome back to Local SEO Tactics, where we bring you tips and tricks to get found online. I'm your host, Jesse Dolan, Bob Brennan, Sue Ginsberg, here to tackle the tough questions about the world of SEO and digital marketing. Sue, what do we got going on today? What's our topic?
Today's question is from a very smart business owner. Allison Krause owns Shoreline Insurance in Minnesota, a broker for health insurance. And she asked me, is there a maximum number of reviews to get each month to stay under Google's radar?
Indeed.
Great question. And this came up because we had recommended asking former clients, of which she has thousands, and they were coming in fast and furious. So good question. I'm sure she's not the only business owner who wonders that. Quote of the day today: the bigger, the better in everything. That's Freddie Mercury, Queen's champion. A couple of quotes because there were so many with the same sentiment. Mae West says, too much of a good thing can be wonderful. Ayn Rand says, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. You hear that the sentiment in all of these is that more is better without any caveats. And I think that what we may learn is that is not always the case. So just a short marketing story about this. I'm commonly or frequently in conversations with business owners about the importance of reviews to both customers and potential customers, as well as to Google. We get a lot of questions about this, and there are a lot of episodes already talking about reviews due largely to the importance of them to both Google and to all human beings. I'll ask you, our smart listeners, when's the last time you bought something online without reading the reviews first? It's an integral part of how we shop today. In my discussions about the importance of reviews, I always share that Google places high priority on different elements of reviews, including the average rating, is it 5-star, 4.7, 4.9, whatever. Of course, the number of reviews, the age of the reviews, because we know that Google and most people place highest priority on reviews that are within the last 3 months, so the most recent, and the owner's reply to reviews, which many business owners are surprised to hear. These are all important elements that Google looks for, and also human beings. What about having too many reviews? Is that possible? In a recent conversation with Allison Krause of Shoreline Insurance, a very smart business owner who does the legwork of choosing health insurance for you, thankfully, because it's such a mess to navigate. Anyway, she shared how well something that we had talked about was working. That was asking former clients for reviews. Allison has been in business for many, many years, has hundreds, if not thousands, of clients, and in her first week of requesting reviews, they got 26 reviews. Knowing that Google does not treat review dumps, I'll call it, favorably, I asked if that was sustainable over the weeks to come or the months to come, or if that was just an anomaly, and if it was going to go from 26 this week to 5 next week, and then 3, and then 1. This got us into the sequence of questions of whether you can have too many reviews a week or a month regarding Google, and was intriguing. I didn't know what the answer was. It may happen largely when a business is asking former clients, because you would think that if you're asking your current clients regularly, that will trickle in steadily. But again, it's something that we always recommend, asking your former clients for reviews, which will get you a big jumpstart to adding reviews to your GMB. So, question for the experts, Jesse and Bob. What do you have to say from an SEO and a Google standpoint and a human standpoint? What do you think about getting too many reviews or too many reviews at once? All of the
Let's start
above.
off,
What do you
Bob.
have
I
to say?
think short answer is no. There is no set number, right? Just to kind of be clear. There's nothing in the Google guidelines like limit yourself to X per day, X per week, or whatever, right? I do think there is a threshold, which we'll kind of explore here, and a way to come up with a number, but there's no like just static volume amount. And then second, just to clarify for everybody, Sue, when we talk about staying under Google's radar, you know, meeting a threshold or whatever, are we talking again just to frame it up like that it would be potentially spammy or like fake if we go above that, or what are some of the pitfalls we're worried about? Is that kind of the main crux of it there? Okay,
Yeah, exactly. Like, is this a red flag to Google? Like 26
right
one
on.
week and 3 and 5 in the next 2 weeks? Are
So I think
these
where some of
spammy
that
or
gets
real?
ridded is Bob, we've talked about getting reviews for years, and go back even a few years ago, 2019, 2018 type stuff, you could buy reviews online, all day long.
Yeah.
So people would get a ton of reviews to prop their business up. What the heck is the term astroturfing? We've talked about that before, right? Where it's like setting up a foundation of fake
Wow.
reviews for your product, your service, your business. If you think about it, right, like grass, organic, natural, over time, nurtured. AstroTurf is artificial. You slap it in there, but it looks good, right? It's kind of where the term comes from. But yeah, you used to be able to just do that. So I think, Sue, that's kind of part of rooted in your question is how do you not look spammy? How do you not look fake? Because what would happen, and still does today, I don't mean to make it sound like it's gone away. You can still go buy reviews, um, but that's a way for Google to investigate you, right? To get audited, have an anomaly, have something that doesn't conform to your normal pattern of reviews. Boom, here's 200 reviews on your account suddenly. You're going to get some attention on those, and Google can tell. Was this a brand new account that left a review? Has this person, I should say, are most of the reviews that this business gets from people that are physically nearby tracking on your phone? Where these reviews that came in this week are all from Puerto Rico and
Philippines.
Alaska, just all around
Yeah.
the area. So part of staying under the radar, quote unquote, is to not draw that attention, not draw that ire from Google, to potentially get in there, investigate your reviews, and then purge any it
Right.
does not trust. So I think that's where that's kind of rooted from previous, like to stay under the radar. But I do think there's another reason for limiting the amount of reviews you have, if you will, right? Not hitting some huge number right off the bat. And that's just to keep a pace going, right? Would it be great if you could get 100 reviews tomorrow that are all legitimate, real reviews that are going to stick and not be removed by Google? Yeah, that is really good, and your score would look incredible. But we have modified, our recommendation the last, I'd say, 6 months or so, based on what Google's been saying and showing as well, which is they want to see, and they've been putting more weight, more authority on user generated signals for your Google business profile in recent months. And what are some of the user generated signals? People leaving a review for your business, people using driving directions, people calling your business from your GBP profile link. These are ways that Google can track and draw correlation to you being a real, effective, and relevant business. So something Google's paid more attention to is the pacing, right, of your reviews. If you get one a day or 3 a week, whatever it is, if that starts to trend up and everything looks legitimate, all the other patterns are the same, Google can have confidence that your business is doing better, right? That people are choosing it more, for whatever the reason is. That's going to help your overall score is going to look better. You're going to get more click throughs. Like we've talked before, Bob, plenty of times you can be in the third place in the map pack. If you have twice the reviews as your competitors, you're going to get that click and that call from the map pack. So getting those reviews over time is going to help in that sense. But also, this has a little bit more of an impact on SEO than it used to. now that Google's given more credit to these user-generated signals. If you have twice the reviews your competitor does, but you go stale and you haven't got any reviews for whatever the last 9 months, but your competitor has slowly gotten reviews, even if their overall score is lower, they may be making traction on your rankings because you went dormant on getting those reviews. And Google's like, hey, how come people aren't patronizing this business like they were before? How come they're not interacting with this business like they were before? So that's very important. So a little bit long there, but no, there's no set number you want to stay under for getting reviews. You don't want to come off as spammy, as artificial, that you're astroturfing. So yeah, we want to meter those down. But then more so, we want to meter them down so you can just drip them out over time now instead of doing a big blast up front. And something I would challenge everybody here is, so it's like, okay, that's cool, guys. So I've got a bunch of reviews I can get. I got this inventory of people I can tap into. Question would be, what's my pace? What would be a good pace? How many reviews should I get? And I think here's where you start to think, put the inventory aside. I think there's two main streams of reviews. One, like your current clients, people that are coming into your store or patronizing you day to day. There's a steady flow of new business coming through, more business in general coming through. Try to put some thought into that and say, how many reviews can I get from that stream? How many people can I ask? How many reviews can I get from that? And then take a look, and then that's going to plot to you. Yeah, I think I can do 1 review per week. That's pretty consistent, right? That's my pace for my business. Then look at your inventory. And we'll talk in a second about who you can include in that. But let's just say you had 100 people you could tap into that you're pretty dang confident will give you a review. If you're going to be on pace for getting 1 a week for your business, if you got 100 people you can ask, I'd say spread those out over the next 3-6 months or even more. So now you're getting 2 or maybe 3 per week, over the next 6-12 months. Don't get me wrong. There's no math. It's not a bad algebra problem where you're going to screw something up by suddenly getting 7 next week, right? And then 2 the next week after. So what I'm illustrating isn't like an exact paint by number situation, but just trying to apply some logic to see what you want to do. If you want to get 10 a week, for the next 10 weeks and then fall down to getting 1 a week going forward, cool. It's not going to be the end of the world. I'm just trying to provide more of a level, math when I say, right, getting a couple a week. But really just kind of do that exercise. Think about how many you can get on a regular basis. Think of what inventory you have for how many people you can ask for reviews. And then just try to plot, that out over the course of X months. And then develop your system on how you're going to ask those people and reach out to them, which is a whole nother episode. We're not going to get into that here today, right? But for sure, I would meter them out with that. Sue and Bob, I'd like to throw out to you guys a challenge for everybody to help brainstorm on where can we dip into these pools of people. What is our inventory as business owners and marketers for people that we can ask for reviews? One thing I'll throw out there overall, and then I'd like to hear you guys for ideas. Bob, we can start with you, but is the fact that doesn't have to be 1 person per transaction. If I sell something to a family, right? A horse. If I have horses, guess what? The mom, the dad can both leave me a review. Maybe if it was a pony for their daughter, right? Their daughter can leave me a review if she's got an account. So it doesn't have to be 1 review per transaction. We're getting reviews from people who have experienced our business, right? And as long as they're telling the truth in their review and giving their own review, their own testimony, it's legitimate, should be fine. And I think that can multiply, what we're going to go through for scenarios that can multiply the amount of people if you think about it in that sense. You can ask multiple people there. So Bob, does anything come to the top of mind for you on who to ask for reviews, right? Not your current clients that walked in today, friends, families, previous clients. What are some places people can go to? Hey everyone, wanted to take a quick second to talk about Review Lead. You've heard us talk about it on the show before. Review Lead is a product that we support and service that we represent. It's a tool that's going to help you get more reviews for your business. manage your reviews, be aware of those reviews, and maybe even deflect some of the negative reviews before they go live online. Check it out at localseotactics.com/review lead, or go to our resources page and look for Review Lead on there. This is a product that we support and that we resell, so this is not a third party or an affiliate link or something like that. Now, what Review Lead is going to do is help you automate getting more reviews from your clients. It makes it very easy to get reviews and get more 5-star reviews, whether you want those on your Google business profile, formerly Google My Business listing, maybe the BBB, maybe Facebook, anywhere that you can get reviews, you can connect with Review Lead and promote this to your clients and customers and get more reviews quick, easy, and in an automated way. Some other cool aspects of it is it does have a mechanism there to, I guess, deflect, if you will, 1-star reviews. If somebody is not happy with your service, it asks them that. And then rather than asking them to leave a review, it'll say, do you want to fill out this feedback form, and give that feedback directly to us? And hopefully that can help deflect some of those 1-star reviews before they go online, and also alert you if something bad is happening in your business and you have a client or customer that is disappointed. So you can rectify that and make changes in your business to keep them happy and prevent that from the future. So that's a really cool feature. Also, it has great reporting in it to make you aware of the amount of reviews you're getting, where you're getting them from, who's leaving them, things like that. And you can also promote those reviews on your website or through social media with some of the integrations built into this product as well. Learn more, go to localseotactics.com/review lead and check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you're part of let's say a Rotary group or a chamber group that people know your business, they know as a business owner you're legit. Say, hey, you know what? Look, I know you own a funeral parlor, let's say, or whatever. Um, Hopefully, I'm not going to use you in the near future, but um, you, you're
Expecting service to be great here at Brennan Funeral
yeah, I
Homes.
don't know, but I know people have used you. I know you're part of their chamber. I know da 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 da. I'm willing to leave you a 5-star review
Yeah,
or whatever. I mean, I don't know how you spin that, in both directions, but you get the idea
right.
there that you're, at the end of the day, it's networking, and it's validation, verification that you're a legitimate business person. And I don't think, on my mind, there's nothing wrong with that.
I
If you're
think
not
on your
comfortable doing that,
example,
obviously, then it's not a good fit. If
yeah,
that makes sense.
your example, the funeral home, I think is a cool one to parse out real quick. Um, you know, if a loved one dies, of course, and you're managing it, and facilitating it and working with the funeral home, of course, you can leave a review for your experience there. But um, to your point, like if you just go and attend somebody else's service there, just as a guest, right, as a visitor, I think you're still fine leaving a review for that funeral home. Like, great professional place, the staff
Yep.
was amazing. They did a great job with their tribute, whatever, right? It doesn't have to be that you personally gave that business money. You can still review, that business, the business owner, the people involved with the team, things like that. So,
Yeah, and I would hope, friends and family that know you and know that you're, a good business owner. If they're not, wanting to do that, again, we can talk about barriers, but it's basically, I think, that they may not leave a review because they actually don't know how to do it, or they don't have a Gmail or whatever the case is.
right.
We can go into that, but I would throw out one other thing with the volume of reviews. There's a couple dynamics I've experienced. We've had a client that used a barcode in their retail establishment to leave a review, and they're finding that reviews weren't posting. So we couldn't get to the bottom of it. So we basically told them that you need to have your clients manually do the review, because there's technology out there. You just point your phone and there's a link, and you know what I mean. It's kind of slick. Most of the time that works. This, for whatever reason, didn't. In that they were able to leave the review, but it wouldn't post through Google. So we don't know if Google's cracking down on that back end, in terms of that.
Was
That
that recently, Bob? I mean, is that would you
Yeah,
still say that
yeah, and I'm not 100% sure. I should say,
interesting?
throw the caveat out there. I don't know if it was something on the technical end of the link or if it was Google, but they weren't posting. So a couple of things I would throw out there is, as you get your reviews and you've got 5 people that are definitely doing it, or you've watched them leave the reviews and they're not posting for some reason, um, you might have issues. But if they all post, and again, this takes what, just 24, 48 hours for these reviews to post, would you say?
Yeah. I mean, if it's a brand new account, if it took a week or two, even in some cases, I would not be shocked. Um,
And
this
that
is
by
all
brand new
free.
account, that's a brand new Gmail account, right?
Yeah. If I left you, Bob, a review at your funeral parlor and I'd never had a Google account before, if I set one up right now and then leave you a review immediately, that one's probably going to be a little slower to post through Google, right? Because it may
Right,
seem fake,
right.
um, and things of that nature. But yeah, Google, the last few years with COVID, it was the first time we've really seen Google slow down in some of these provision of services, right? Posting Google reviews, maybe things to your Google business profile updates, indexing your website. There's a host of things that Google has really ebbed and flowed on their speed. And the review posting is one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't freak out if it doesn't post right away. Um,
So one of the things I would throw out, and I'm not, so when I say this, everybody needs to understand this is not, this is total speculation, total whatever you want to call it. But on, at least on Facebook, when you're marketing on Facebook, if I understand this, Jess, if you try to double the campaign, you kind of get penalized, right? You can only like increase the campaign by 20 or 25%. So what I would throw out is pure speculation is you can increase your lead or your reviews. I wouldn't go like, okay, if you're averaging, let's just use a number, 5 a day for a month, and you somehow have bandwidth to increase that even more, I wouldn't go more than, let's say, another 2 or 3 a day at the
yeah,
max, right? But if you end up like doubling and then doubling that and doubling, keep doubling, that's where Google's going to like time out.
yep,
Let's really dig into this and see what's going on. If they have an algorithm, if they have a program that, you know, and by that I would say any program they have that, just again guessing, is not a super sophisticated program in that it's like it's just looking for percentage changes, and then when there's some crazy percentage change, then my guess is they get human eyes on it to dig into it and look into it. But I don't think they have this crazy algorithm that thinks, at all these levels to say, okay, these reviews, you know, nope, time out. We're taking this whole GMB down. But that's how I'd approach it. I don't know if that makes sense. Just, just
yeah,
go to town. Well, not go to town, but get a rhythm going or a pattern of so many a day. But then if you have the bandwidth and the capability to increase it, I wouldn't increase it 100%. I would bring it up by percentages from month to month, and maybe 6 months from now, you're actually getting 20 a day, but you built up to that. Does that story make sense?
yeah. And I think this is definitely a marathon, not a sprint type
Right.
scenario here, where I think you're going to be well served as your business over time if you have a slow and steady approach to getting reviews versus I got them all this month and then it drops off a cliff next month.
Right.
If you jump through in the rankings, I would expect that to drop in the coming months versus if you're going slow and steady, maybe you don't crack the rankings this month. Maybe you start next month and the month after, but it's more sustainable, more organic.
Yep.
And then to your point, yeah, you know, whatever level of sophistication there is or isn't at Google for these reviews, for sure there's definitely layering, and what you want to do is just avoid, these outlier type deals to draw that attention.
Yeah,
I
they're looking
think,
for a rhythm. I
yeah,
think they're
yeah,
when they see this
normal pattern of business.
speak
Yeah.
or spike or whatever, they're like, nah, that's not going to work. So
Well,
And then that goes true both ways, I think, right? Not only do you stay within that to not break tolerance and then draw attention to maybe have things go slow or get penalized or whatever, but then that's true the other way is continued pacing of that shows them that you are a good business with
right,
continual customers and things like that.
consistent.
I'd say there's probably one asterisk to be fair that we should throw out there, which is like if you have, so we're talking about jump starting your reviews, to be clear. We're talking about you haven't done a lot with reviews, you're listening today or otherwise inspired, you're going to buckle down, we're going to get reviews for our company. And you're going to start asking your clients. And then again, you got this inventory of people you can tap into one time. That's the part we're talking about metering out is that the people we're tapping into one time. A scenario that's running through my head here, I want to be clear about with people is let's just say you have like a big open house event or some kind of gigantic sale or block party. I don't know, whatever it is, where you have a lot of people that are physically coming to your location now. they can all leave you a review today. That's cool. Because Google also is seeing the signal that they're physically located there, right? If Bob, Sue, and I are asking 100 of our friends and family to leave us reviews, we're probably calling them, texting them, or emailing them, and they're leaving us these reviews from these remote locations, which kind of again adds that layer of how credible is it or not with Google. And these other layers of pacing and the frequency start to be more in play. But again, if I got an event and I've got 100 people that show up, they're all physically there. Google knows my address from GPS coordinates. Google is spying on everybody through their phones. They know they're standing there.
Yeah.
They're going to have a high degree of confidence in a giant bump in reviews when people are physically there at that business, right? They can parse that out. Again, we don't know exactly what they're doing behind the curtain. They've got some logic. They've got some formulas. To Bob's point, they're not as crazy as we think they are. They're usually a lot simpler. But I guarantee they know the proximity and the GPS parts of it, and that's not going to hurt you. So just to be clear on everybody, if you got a
Yeah.
big event, a lot of people there, or a busy day in your store, like whatever it is, ask all the people that are physically in front of you for reviews in those organic situations, even if they are anomalies for the volume. Different scenario than what we're talking about for kind of
Mhm.
launching, a review
Mhm.
effort here. So, um,
Jesse,
what do you guys got? Any other ideas on who to ask?
well, I want to add something too, that since there's no crystal ball that predicts who who's going to leave a review of all the people you ask. Um, to Bob's point earlier about kind of, well, both of you said metering them out. I think the best we can do is whatever the number is, ask 10 people each week, 20 people, 5 people, and then whatever comes in will
Yep.
most likely follow a normal curve and be reasonably close to what the number is um,
Yep.
over time. About that. So yeah, one other
It's
idea
very
that
powerful.
I always mention to business owners that is often overlooked is ask your employees. An employee can review a business and say what a great place this is, how we love how we're helping other businesses, and it's a great place to work, and it's a great culture. We get great people, whatever. That's a legit review. It's
Yeah.
not scamming the system.
But I think with that, part of this too is make sure they are honest and transparent in the purpose of the review, right? Um, don't pretend you bought a product or a service. No, you know what I mean? Just like be honest. Speak to your experience, why you're leaving the review, and things like that. And if you're asking a bunch of people, they may say the same thing, like, "Hey, Bob, I've never died. I haven't been at your funeral home. Like, why would I leave a review?" It's like, well, I mean, do you think it's professional? Like you can just give me some good, feedback. It doesn't have to mean that you purchased anything here, right? Just did you experience it, or can you vouch for it? Things like that. So, yeah, I mean, friends, family, past clients, you know, we touched on it slightly earlier in the episode, but um, I mean, if you've got 15 people in the office at one of your clients, current client or former client, whatever, all 15 people can leave a review if you can ask them all, right? So that's a multiplier right there. Um, I think we were talking about whether it be a lawyer or again, or funeral parlor, things like that. If you've got a family, there's 5 family members in that, right? Like, the pony type deal, they can all ask. So just challenge yourself on those multipliers. If you're ever thinking about one person
Yeah.
or their related parties there, you can also ask. And your inventory is going to expand pretty quick. Um,
And you can just phrase it up. Hey, if it's a buddy of yours on the softball team, it's like, hey Jim, do you think I have a 5-star business? You know, I don't know, type
yeah,
of deal. But if they're like, yeah, I think whatever. Hey, would you mind leaving me a review or whatever the case is? So, but yeah, I mean, anybody that you can think of that either knows you or your business, in my opinion, is fair game. So
yep.
And of course, make it easier for them to do that.
yeah, yeah, help them with that process. Again, a lot of
Make
people
it
aren't
easy.
gonna. We're not gonna get too in the weeds here, but a lot of people aren't gonna admit that they don't know how to do it. And there's definitely the human condition where we've talked about this before. People have the right, good intention to do it, but it's it might be something you're gonna have to remind them a couple times if they haven't done it or whatever. So
Or you could sign up for an automated review request platform with your favorite podcast, for example,
there
and
you go.
have it
There
done
you
for
go.
you.
Works well too.
Mhm.
Well, and on that, to be transparent and frontal, we are running as the promo for this episode our review lead software, which you just mentioned earlier in the episode, cutting in here. And to Sue's point, that is something, right? You ask people in person, have some kind of software to fill in the cracks for everybody else that you want to reach. Um, how to get reviews is another topic we've covered in the past. We're going to cover more, but we're gonna dive back into this for everybody, kind of for a 2022 reboot. Um, that is a whole nother in-depth deal. I want to add one more thing to it, which is when we are asking people in person. This is my advice here is predicated on literally asking people face to face, right? Not through a software system or things like that. Although I guess it might apply. Is let them know you're asking for a favor, right? Like, Bob, can you help me out? Can you
Yeah.
help my business?
Yeah.
I think we've talked before, Bob. Like that's the Mister Rogers approach. You know, we've talked about it. Is not asking them for a review, asking them to help you, right? That's your lead. And there's a slight psychological connotation there that's just a little different. You know, we don't want to leave reviews. We don't want to be bothered with that crap, you know, in general. But we will help a friend out or help a
Sure.
friend's business out,
Sure.
right? That just has a different feel to it. And when we've implemented that, I know it makes a big difference. So people can take that with too.
Great tip. Great tip.
You guys got any other tips or bits of advice on, again, this inventory reviews, who to tap into, how to tap into, anything else? Or you think that wraps it up pretty good?
No, I think that covers a lot of it. I know it's a topic we'll be coming in the future.
Yeah.
You know,
Super
I think we're going to
important.
trying to help people
Yeah.
better with the act of getting a review, because it's just not as straightforward as you would think. So
Right on.
And when other businesses that you do business with ask you for a review, be generous and say yes and click the link.
Hey, little pro tip, I guess, for everybody from bringing it back to SEO. What you just said right there, Sue, I think it's pretty important for everybody listening. If you're a business owner or marketer, if you're focused on your Google business profile or you're active in managing Google business profiles, leave reviews yourself. You're going to become a Google guide. Google accounts are scored and rated based on how many reviews you leave, how active you are in that space for Google. And your account has levels, has grades to it, right? Has a
Oh,
rank. And so the more reviews you leave, the higher authority you have within Google, right?
hmm,
The higher your level, the higher your position, and the more they trust you. That can come in handy as an SEO if Google maybe isn't accepting a certain change for your business, or maybe they've got your map pin in the wrong spot and you're trying to adjust it, right? If they're just like, well, you're just some random business owner versus like a level 7 Google guide expert that's left 100 and some reviews, you know, they're going to
interesting.
carry a little different weight to those accounts because they don't know you as a business owner, as a person, right? But if you're in their system as a trusted expert for leaving reviews, the things you have the authority to recommend or give feedback to Google on are going to carry some extra weight. So you're right, Sue.
It's
Pay it
awesome.
forward. Use it both ways. That helps the greater good and just kind of the karma of things, but also um, it's good to get internet points on your Google
Mhm.
account as well.
that's
They
true.
come in handy.
And on
Any other
that
closing
note,
thoughts, Sue?
Jesse, can we put the link to leave us a review in the show notes so everybody out there who's listening and gets value from the podcast can please leave us a review?
Yes. Automatically on every page, go to localseotactics.com, scroll down to the bottom, click the button for reviews. And from there, you can pick Google, Apple iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, whatever your platform of choice is. We'd absolutely love to get a review.
We appreciate it. So, okay, if you remember one thing and one thing only, remember this. Reviews are incredibly important. Yes, get reviews, get a lot of reviews. Your goal is for 2 times at least your competitors' number of reviews, or at least 2 times the number your competitors have. And don't be intimidated if that's a lot. You have your customers, you have your former customers, and the other resources of people who know your business that we mentioned, you can do it. Keep reviews coming regularly and be aware of not review dumping. I don't know what else to call it. A huge onslaught one week and then radio silence for the next months after that. Just look at getting reviews and getting them steadily from all the sources and people who know your business well. It is important.
Yep.
Yep.
It's good advice. I think everybody listening, if you can take some tidbits out of this episode and leverage them, maybe you got some new ideas where to get reviews from, the pacing part and all that. Google My Business, now Google Business Profile, and thus reviews are a huge part of your SEO. Go back to some of our first episodes on this podcast. That's where we started. And I think this update should help out some people and maybe bring it back to the surface if it's gone dormant for anybody out there. So thanks for the topic, Sue, and the framing it up and other quotes. Bob, I want to thank you for holding back any Freddie Mercury jokes I feel like you were about to crack at the beginning of the episode, which we can do offline because this is a clean show, and all the other advice that you gave too. Everybody else out there listening, hopefully it's a good episode for you. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
Bye now.
Yeah.